US President Donald Trump indicated that he may introduce new tariffs on agricultural imports, particularly Indian rice, as well as fertilizers from Canada, as trade discussions with both countries continue without major progress. Trump made the comments during a meeting at the White House where he unveiled a $12 billion fresh support for American farmers. He said imports were challenging domestic producers and reiterated his intent to address the issue. The president said he would take care of alleged dumping of Indian rice into the U.S. Farmers have pointed to falling rice prices, claiming imports from countries like India, Vietnam and Thailand are undercutting their crops. Remember, these remarks come amid ongoing economic pressures, including concerns about inflation and consumer prices. Negotiations with both Canada and India aimed at stabilizing trade ties have encountered difficulties. Earlier this year, Trump imposed 50% tariff on Indian goods, citing trade barriers and energy purchases. The U.S. delegation is expected to visit India this week for further talks, although no major breakthrough is anticipated.
But I wish I was here under better terms. I'll tell you, I think the rice industry thanks you sincerely for what you have done for the California rice market and to Japan. It has been monumental for our industry, but us in the South are really struggling. I mean, this is not just a crisis. I would say it's almost a market dynamics that really are true anti-competitive nature, right? So it follows what you sent out this weekend. And we do believe that countries are dumping rice into this country today. We've never seen imports this great.
Which countries?
India, Thailand, even China into Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico used to be one of the largest markets for U.S. rice. We haven't shipped rice into Puerto Rico in years. So this has been happening for years. This didn't start during your administration, but unfortunately, we're seeing it in a much bigger way now. The tariffs are working, but we need to double down because
you want more. I mean,
well, they're cheating, right? They're they're just subsidizing and then
India. Tell me about India. Why is India allowed to do that? They have to pay tariffs. Do they have an exemption on rice?
No, sir. We're still working on their trade deal. So
yeah, but they should be dumping. I mean, I heard that from others. So you can't do that.
There's a WTO case against India now.
Give me the countries, if you could. Go ahead. India. Who else?
So India.
Mark it down. What'd you say?
yes, sir.
India, Thailand, China into Puerto Rico, not into continental U.S., but into Puerto Rico. Those are the main culprits.
So Puerto Rico used to do a lot of business, and now you're
100%. Puerto Rico was U.S. based.
All right.
And
so
now
easy to settle.
All right, and staying with other trade deals, the Kremlin has reiterated that India is a sovereign nation and free to purchase oil from any source it finds economically beneficial, including Russia. Now, the statement came from Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov on Monday, days after Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Vladimir Putin held talks in New Delhi. Peskov said Moscow is confident India will continue to prioritize its economic interests and maintain its energy buying policy based on what suits the nation best. Now, this comes amidst the U.S. imposing additional tariffs on India. Despite Western pressure, Russia remains one of India's top crude suppliers since the Ukraine conflict began in 2022. But in the month of November, official data confirms India has not purchased any Russian oil. Russian President Vladimir Putin, after his meeting with Prime Minister Modi, reassured that Moscow will remain a reliable energy partner for India. Russian officials also hinted that they are prepared to deal with sanctions if needed, with Kremlin economic aide Maxim Oreshkin saying Moscow has long experience in overcoming restrictions and will find ways to supply crude if India is willing to buy. Meanwhile, India and the European Union have taken yet another step forward in negotiations for a long-pending free trade agreement as Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal met EU Trade Commissioner Maroš Šefčovič in New Delhi on Monday to discuss issues that are holding up the deal. Šefčovič is in India with a high-level EU delegation for what he described as a two-day marathon of meetings aimed at advancing trade and investment talks with India. Both leaders called the discussions productive and reaffirmed their commitment to concluding the free trade agreement at the earliest. However, several key issues remain, including steel, carbon tax, automobile duties and non-tariff barriers. The European Union has been seeking steeper duty cuts on cars, medical devices, wine, spirits and meat products, along with stronger intellectual property protections. The India-EU FTA talks resumed in 2022 after an 8-year pause, with bilateral goods trade touching over $136 billion last year. The EU is now India's largest trading partner. A successful pact could make Indian exports from garments and pharma to steel and electrical machinery more competitive in European markets. And it seems to be a news day of more trade talks. India and Chile have taken another step forward towards a potential trade agreement as both sides reviewed the process of and the progress of negotiations for a proposed comprehensive economic partnership agreement, or CEPA. The talks took place in New Delhi between Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal and Chile's Treasury Undersecretary for Foreign Affairs, Claudia Senhueza. Now, this meeting comes just days after officials from the two countries concluded the fourth round of CEPA negotiations on December 5th. The latest round ran for 5 days and, according to the government, saw intensive and constructive discussions across several chapters. Officials say substantial progress has been made, indicating growing momentum in the trade dialogue. In a joint statement, both sides reaffirmed their commitment to concluding the CEPA negotiations in a timely manner. Now, once finalized, the pact is expected to give a major boost to bilateral trade, improving market access, deepening economic cooperation and opening new opportunities for businesses on both sides. The two nations are now expected to continue technical consultations, with more rounds of negotiations likely in the coming months. Both governments have emphasized that the CEPA could become a key pillar in strengthening India-Latin America economic ties.